when you distill this down to the essence of what we do here, we're here to fight the away game. Every single person here is fighting for what their vision of the American way is. They're fighting to ensure that their families remain safe at home. And it's a very personal mission to folks. We all have families back home. We all have things that we care about. And so that drives each individual to do their best every day. And all of our airmen, it's very easy to tie them to the mission here. They see that what they do matters. They know at the end of the day what they did for their country that day. And so that sense of being connected to the mission is the key to victory in everything that we do. And our airmen will make extraordinary sacrifices, and they're very dedicated to that because they get a sense of what they're doing is important. If you can accomplish that as a leader, the rest of it is easy because the airmen will deliver.
We're responsible for personnel recovery across the entire DoD. And what that generally means is anyone who's isolated, either here or anywhere across the globe, if they need assistance, we stand ready to help them out. There's an overarching desire to help and to help people, whether that's just by helping them get back here or whether it's providing that medical capability. We sit on a very short alert window, and we are able to launch within 30 minutes at all times throughout the day and night. And we provide that rescue and recovery capability across the theater to the coalition forces, to the joint force. And I think the guys get a great amount of satisfaction from knowing that their actions are directly helping people get back to their friends and family. The challenge here is the terrain, right? The altitude. We're surrounded by mountains, and generally most of the central and northern Afghanistan area is very high altitude. So that's where the CH-47s can really provide some special capability because of their ability to get to that high altitude area and insert the team. The PJs and the combat rescue officers have a pretty broad skill set, and it's difficult to stay sharp on all those skills. So continuing to keep them engaged through training, it keeps those skills sharp throughout the entire deployment so that when that call comes and we are asked to do our job, everyone's ready and postured to do that. Honestly, I'm humbled, right? I mean, we have a lot of young men and women, both assigned to the squadron, and they are taking time away from their personal lives and their families are making significant sacrifices, but they all raise their hand and say, yeah, I want to be on that deployment. I want to be part of that mission overseas. And it is truly humbling to be part of a unit that is that dedicated to the mission. I think it's a great mission. I think regardless of how you feel about things over here, the work that we do, it's meaningful. And we are here to do a great mission, which is, again, bring people home to recover, whether it's fallen personnel or personnel that are isolated and can't recover themselves. And I honestly believe strongly in the mission. I've been doing it for 22 years, and that's one of the reasons I still stay engaged and continue to do the work.
This is CENTCOM's biggest, baddest, most capable medical operation in the entire AOR. We're now touted as a 24-bed hospital, but we're expandable to 13 ICU beds and up to 30 ICW beds for a total of 43. So it's amazing what we can do in the middle of Afghanistan here.
The whole reason I became a trauma surgeon was to be a trauma surgeon in the military, and then I think There's no better way to connect to the mission than to be here to take care of those that are out there doing the fighting and putting their lives on the line. So without a good, effective trauma team here to take care of them, that just wouldn't be possible. So I feel very strongly about that. And to be able to be there for them, even if I can't save them, to be able to be there for them and their family when things don't go our way and they're not able to survive their injuries is important, because these folks were getting up to go to work that day or going out on a mission that day and with their buddies, and maybe bad things happen.
Let's just repeat our blood pressure, get the rest of our secondary survey, and we'll get them packaged up for CAT scan.
We had one of our patients that was an individual described his course was he was injured doing special operations. He's bloodied, he's confused, there's just the noise of combat going on. He's hurting, he's worried that he's not going to see his family. Next thing he knows, he's rolling, and when he looks up, he sees the flag, and he said, "I knew I was at Craig, I know I'm going to be safe." He didn't remember a thing until he woke up at the launch stool. So that flag is a huge symbol for our patients, it's a symbol for us, and it's a very big sense of pride for me in this facility.
We have a pretty tremendous team here, and I think every time I'm honestly surprised at how hard people work in their jobs here every day. And even folks, nurses that come from labor and delivery, and you got techs that come from outpatient clinics, and they come here and they work in an environment that they're not entirely used to, and they really step up to the plate, and that's really what makes our success a reality.
Right on this last rotation, we had surgeons that were up working for 36 hours, and I never once saw anybody complain. They obviously looked tired, but they were doing the mission and completing it, and they're motivated, they're proud of what they do, they see what the end result is, which is saving lives and salvaging people. They're at the top of the game. They come here, they're hungry, they're eager to perform. I can't think of a better job in the entire Air Force than the one that I'm in right now.
We move our wounded warriors, so it's a crazy honor for us to do that. So when someone is injured downrange or back stateside, you know, we're the avenue to get them from a lower echelon of care to a higher echelon of care.
Here in Afghanistan, particularly here in Bagram, we come together from 9 different squadrons. We're a mixture of Guard, Reserve, Active Duty, AE, and CCAT as well. We can bring together that active duty component. We get the experience from the Guard and the Reserve, where you have your critical care nurses, ER nurses, paramedics, med techs that we have. The experience is unsurpassed. We get a warning on regulated patients of what the patient load will look like and what the condition is, but on an unregulated move, not necessarily. We may get a call to go out to Mozzie, and they'll say, "We got 2 patients." Well, you may pick up 20 patients, but they'll all have different things wrong with them, from gunshots to IED explosions, different things. So you just have to kind of be ready, mentally prepared for that, and able to see some of the stuff that comes on.
I was out here in 2014, 5 years ago, and it was a little busier, it seemed. Then we had a little larger patient loads. But after that deployment, I got to go really just, it was actually a quilters meeting with my mom, and they made some quilts for veterans, and it was kind of weird, but one of the Marines that we brought back ended up showing up there, and he had an amputated hand and a broke ankle from his injuries, and he got to show up there. I'm going to try not to get too emotional, but he showed up there and actually talked about his patient movement. He had a little kid there that was, excuse me, that was born after he got home. So that's really what makes this job so important. There's so much honor in it whenever we can bring home someone to their kid or their daughter or their wife or mom or dad. That's really why this is the best job I could ever imagine doing.
this is the best mission, not only in the Air Force, but in the civilian sector too. There's nothing that I've ever done can compare to this job. It's just knowing that you're bringing somebody's child, somebody's husband, somebody's wife, that you're taking them, getting them as close to home as possible after they've been injured. It's just the most gratifying thing you could ever do.
With regard to the men and women of the 455th AEW, I think sacrifice means that they are willing to put their lives on hold and that they are willing to endure painful absences from their families in order to ensure that their fellow American citizens can sleep well at night and that they can go about the work of their daily business without fear of attack. And I find it extraordinary that so many airmen and so many of our joint teammates as well are willing to come over here and put their own lives at danger to ensure that their fellow countrymen and women don't have to face that threat at home. And so I am proud and amazed at the work that our airmen do every single day, and I applaud them for their selflessness and for their courage. I never came in the military to be a general. That was never a thought that I had. I came in to fly and to fight for my country if needed. I knew that that was my dream, and you know, just trying to do the best that I could do in whatever job it was, or do my best every single day with whatever role that I was empowered with. But I never really set out to be a senior leader in the military. That just sort of happened along the way. Another thing that happens about the time that you start being given those leadership responsibilities for a lot of folks is just the love of serving others and to try and make the team better, caring for your airmen, and that becomes your objective. That becomes the thing that you pride yourself on, and that gives meaning and purpose to your career and to your life. That you are making this military experience better for the airmen who are serving with you.
What's unique about our mission here in Afghanistan is partly the close integration with the ground forces, and the other part is the extreme requirement for precision in the fires that we apply. It goes from zero to full speed pretty quickly. You know, often of the time we're in the air, you know, we'll spend a couple of hours just flying overwatch, and then, you know, when a firefight kicks off, you don't get a lot of warning for that. So it accelerates rapidly from not much going on to pretty high speed, low margin for error.
So a day-to-day looks like this. Airplanes go up, fully loaded. They return often with empty rails. So the first thing we do is verify that the airplanes are functional, all the systems. Then we load them with the appropriate armaments, and then prep them for a follow-on launch. We concentrate on getting airplanes into the air around the clock in support of the guys that are actually out in the field.
We were supporting one of the ground forces that was going out with Afghan National Army in a pretty remote village, and the ground forces were moving through the village to kind of sweep it of enemy forces. They ended up taking some very effective fire from various places around the village that we ended up having the opportunity to take care of with precision employment. And I think what really struck me about that particular mission was they took significantly more risk than they had to in order to ensure the safety of the civilian population while still targeting the enemy. There's a lot easier way to fight that kind of war, but the lengths we go to kind of be the good guys and to protect the civilian population and support the government of Afghanistan was pretty striking in that particular mission.
This last 6 months is really a year and a half in the making. So to see us come together as a team and to be able to actually put our work into an operational environment is pretty fulfilling.
The mission's important to me because we're helping out the people of Afghanistan. We're helping our troops get out here as soon as we can. We're trying to help the mission where people get hurt, take them back here, save their lives, and we're trying to move all the cargo to where it needs to be.
I'm a squadron commander at home, and to be able to take my squadron from home out to combat is just an incredible honor. They're out here performing their mission that they're all experts in, knowing that they're going out to do something worthwhile. Even though they might be tired from a long 16 to 18-hour day, it's fun to see them have that sense of pride that they did something worthwhile that day.
My job is to make sure that the hydraulic fluid isn't leaking out of any of our components, and that all of our hydraulic components like steering, brakes, all of our flight controls is all fully operational for the pilots to take off. All of our hydraulic components pretty much ground the aircraft if it's broken, no matter what it is. It could be something small as a filter, or it could be something as big as the actual steering. So it's quite essential to the rest of the aircraft and how it works. Everything is important that we do, and I believe that even, like I said, to the smallest inspection, it's essential. "24 hours a day, there's a C-130J up in the air supporting Afghanistan. My airmen are experts at their craft, and to see them excel every day at what they do just brings a smile to my face. And you know, because they're so good at what they do, it allows me to focus on taking care of them so that they're proud to do what they do each and every single day here in Afghanistan.
So the OSS provides seamless support to combat flight operations at both Bagram Airfield and Jalalabad Airfield, and we provide certain levels of support to Kandahar Airfield and several other airfields around the Afghanistan AOR as well. The different functions of the OSS are the intelligence flight. We have weapons and tactics flight, so both of those are wing functions. We also have wing aircrew flight equipment. Then we have current operations, airfield operations, and then the Jalalabad OLA. It really comes down to just relying on those experts, and that is exactly what the OSS has. We have just a whole variety of experts who know exactly what they're doing, and so the fact is that every single one of them I know is passionate about supporting the mission, both their specific lane of the mission as well as the overarching mission of combat operations in Afghanistan.
So day by day at Jalalabad, I work side by side with 2 other Air Force members. So the 3 of us together try to manage and execute daily operations of everything inside of the airfield. It is challenging, and a tremendous amount of it is trying to understand the different complex requirements that all of our users have. Jalalabad has an enormous amount of Army users, Army aviation, that is there, primarily helicopters, and we have UAS units that are there from a diverse background, and a number of other users that come in and out of the field to conduct operations in the local area. I think some of the most rewarding opportunities are seeing the completion of projects that you start and being able to talk to users of the airfield and people that you support directly and have them express appreciation for the level of support, the flexibility of support that the airfield was able to provide.
Being good at your job, providing the information, the timely and accurate information, is absolutely critical to the mission. And so that is one of the first things we try to do when people show up here in the squadron, or even before they get here, we send them a welcome guide so that they know, 1, here's all the crazy stuff that the OSS does, and 2, what you do is very, very important to the mission. And so that is it's something that we work on right from the very beginning, and then we try to kind of reinforce that as things go on, so people don't forget that what they're doing is so much bigger than their day-to-day operations.
We have a combat presence at Bagram and at Kandahar, and then we also own senior airfield authority at Jalalabad Airfield. So we have a presence there as well, where they run airfield operations. I think for the folks down there that communications, anytime you're going to be geographically separated from a subordinate commander, communication is going to be a challenge. I think we're very good at it, and the opportunities, though, are that the team down there has a degree of autonomy. They understand that they are trusted to deliver the mission, and with that comes a sense of ownership, I think, that makes it both rewarding for them, and at the end of the day, they know what they did for their country, so I think that sense of ownership allows a great deal of pride in what they accomplish, and they know that they're trusted by their teammates to get it done.
Out here, it's a way bigger mission. Getting to talk to some of the pilots about the missions they're flying out there and to see the munitions that we load firsthand really doing the job is awesome. I'm a weapons load crew member. We work in a team of 3, so we have the 1-man, the 2-man, which is my position, and then a 3-man. As a 2-man, I'm mostly responsible for handling the tools, preparing the racks for loading the bombs, preparing the rocket pods, helping out with any end of firing inspections and stuff like that.
Out here we do obviously CAS and combat search and rescue, or personnel recovery, for all of our U.S. coalition and partner forces that are on the ground anywhere in Afghanistan.
The jets came down and we had a bomb had dropped and a rocket had fired, and he had fired the gun, so our crew went in and we did an EOF, which is end of firing inspection on the gun. We did an EOF on the rocket pod to clean out where the rocket had been fired out of, and then we loaded the AGR rocket, and then a crew loaded the bomb onto the station, and then eventually they would be loading ammo.
The pilots get to watch our munition guides build up ordnance, so we can see exactly how that process goes and have an appreciation for the challenges they face. So everybody has a shared picture in this fight, and the better we have a rapport with those guys, the better it's going to go, the more efficient everything's going to be, so that we can bring those arms to bear on the enemy when the time comes. The biggest win for an A-10 guy out there is again when you check in with that ground controller. They're taking significant fire. They don't have a lot of ability to maneuver around that. You hear the machine gun blaring in the background. You hear the elevated voices, and then when our guys are able to put down those non-lethal kinetic smokes to say, yep, this is where we think it is. Immediately the JTAC, that's the exact tree line we're taking that gunfire from, and then within seconds we're in there with that 30mm gun along that tree line. And all of a sudden the next radio call is very calm. There's quiet on the radio. The JTAC says, "Hog, good effects," and then we look to correlate and further find the enemy through there. But you can hear the instant relief in his voice, and for us that's the best part of the job for sure. I love that. Hog guys live for that kind of response, so that's why we train so intensely for that.
I knew for a long time that I wanted to be in the military. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I honestly didn't really know what the Air Force did as a whole, but now I think I'm really lucky to be able to have the job I do, just to see this side of the fight, honestly.
I get to see every day, the effects of that training that I got back in the States, but see what it does every day out here. It definitely brings a sense of pride that here we are, right in the middle of it, and we can reach anywhere in Afghanistan from here. So the MQ-9 is a medium altitude, long endurance, multi-piloted aircraft that we use for surveillance, reconnaissance, and then also we have some close air support missions. We are able to employ weapons if required. It's very high ops tempo where it's just a constant flow of takeoffs and recoveries throughout the day. Most of the aircraft are airborne every day for 21 hours. Some of them, they land, they're on the ground for 3 hours, maintenance turns them, and they're back airborne. Most of the crews that fly the mission are back in the States, so we just do the launch and recovery portion of the mission. We do all the maintenance on the ground, we turn the aircraft, we launch them, and right after takeoff, we hand back to the crews in the States, and they fly the mission from there. We have both military and civilian counterparts that are working the mission. We treat them just the same way we would treat any airman that's working the line. And they do a lot of work to keep these aircraft maintained and flying every day. You imagine an aircraft flying for 21 hours every day, the amount of maintenance that has to go on in the background to make sure that the aircraft is operating correctly and is safe. They work really hard to keep this mission going. Nearly every kinetic strike that happens in Afghanistan has an MQ-9 on station before, during, and after the strike, or doing the strike themselves. To be able to see what my airmen are able to add to the battlefield here in Afghanistan is really rewarding. Every single day, I see the effects that we put on the battlefield by enabling this mission.
Bacon is an airborne communications platform that we send up into the air to kind of bridge communications between the various platforms and agencies that we have on the ground. There's no flying training unit, there's no official Air Force program to fly a Global Express jet or a BD-700. So the first time most of us even see a platform is out here in the combat zone. We're now able to utilize beyond line of sight communications for the guy on the ground to the guy on the mountaintop. We can support anyone and every one of our operations on the ground.
I'm the day battle NCO for the JDOC that runs all the force protection and GDA operations for here on Capt. So running operations, doing battle tracking, talking to the guys on the ground, guys out on missions, doing that stuff. So we use them for when our guys are doing certain operations, they're like 20K away. There's no chance we're gonna get in comms with them. So we call Bacon, put in a request for them, get them on station, and they put in our frequencies in the radios. They set up our voice bridges to our phones. So I mean, it just adds to the confidence level for sure.
I think it's really great that we have contractors here. A lot of them are prior military or have retired, so they offer a lot of experience, and that makes us very effective. When it comes to maintenance, we only have 4 aircraft in our fleet, and we're still able to fly 24/7, 365 days. So it's really impressive that we're able to, with such a small fleet of aircraft, continually have an aircraft actually in the sky providing communication services. During the Kandahar elections, there was a key leadership engagement, and one of the Afghan generals, he was actually assassinated, but we also had one of our Attack South commander there, and he was shot during that incident. And Bacon was actually flying overhead, and that allowed the JDOC to immediately call medevac, so that way, just saving a few minutes helped save his life. Those are the type of things that our Bacon is regularly doing, just making sure that communications, if things go bad, we can quickly respond and that it's reliable and theater support can help out.
It's great because of the mission that we do, the impact that we have on the people on the ground, and every time that they come to us and thank us for providing that life support, communication, relay. It's great to be able to get that feedback and be able to know that you're doing something that's impacting real lives.
So I think first and foremost, as commanders, we set a vision, and then we inspire our airmen to achieve that vision. Along the way, we set milestones. We ensure that airmen have the resources to be successful. We provide oversight, and we bridge the levels of command. So we take the strategic and operational directives, we turn them into tactical deliverables. So that's really what we do. But I think one of the keys to success, from myself to my group commanders to the squadron commanders, is that sense of trust. So we explain the outcome that we're seeking, and then we get out of the way and we let those squadron commanders go forth and achieve the success that we've asked for. And the old saying is absolutely right. They will amaze you with their ingenuity, their passion, and their ability to get things done in a way that you might never have even thought of. So they do a great job.
It's going to sound corny, but honestly, my airmen inspire me every day. They really do. We as LROs have to know so much, and our motto is Jack of all trades, master of none, because truly we have to know more than we could ever possibly know. And the depth of knowledge that the airmen have blows me away. So I learn more from them than they will ever possibly learn from me. And I think that that is a gift. I think one of the greatest things about being a logistician is that we touch absolutely everything on the base, especially in regards to the 455th mission. The mission couldn't happen without us. It absolutely couldn't, because we touch every piece of it. We make sure that there are vehicles for the various units. We make sure that the aircraft have fuel. We make sure that if you are deploying in or redeploying out, we are taking care of all of those transportation requirements. If you are somebody that fixes jets, we are the people that receive your parts and process those parts and get them out to you. So we touch literally everything that happens within the 455th. If you want to get jets up in the air, you're going to need the supplies, you're going to need the fuel, you're going to need your parts from TMO, you're going to need the support from the aerial port, getting people in and out. So we touch literally everything. So we are the backbone of the mission. I've always said deploying is fun because you get to do your job for real, and we do. And we get to see the mission happen every day. And that's very exciting for us because it's not conceptual, it's actual. We get to kind of come in with fresh eyes and look at the way that logistics is being done here and make it a little better. And my two big things here is making the mission better, whether it's policies and practices or quality of life for the airmen that come through, and customer service. Because we are 100% customer service. Logisticians have no internal mission other than taking care of the customer, so we strive for the best customer service here on Bagram. Oh, this is the best job in the world. I mean, you know, they tell you that coming into command, but it absolutely is the best job in the world. I mean, to come from essentially staff, to getting to be with the airmen again and getting to see their different personalities, and I'm on my second rotation now, so it's a whole different group, a whole new dynamic, whole new personalities, and to get to see them come here, learn the job, and find new ways and better ways to do things and grow it's the best job in the world. It absolutely is. I would do it a million times if they let me.
We provide a very unique skill set when it comes to air base operations, in that we have a fundamental understanding of what it means to defend an airfield. We are specially trained and equipped to
detect and defend against multiple types of threats in multiple types of domains. Honestly, this is probably one of the best missions to be a part of, because the mission that we're doing out here enables the men and women back home to be safe and secure. We take the fight to the enemy out here. Our role as security forces enables that fight by keeping these aircraft safe, keeping the men and women of this base safe so they can go out there and perform that mission. The FAST team is a unique skill set within security forces in that they're especially trained to handle more close quarters combat and do flight deck denial operations. They go with the aircraft to secure deliveries of logistical equipment, transportation of personnel such as anyone transiting AOR, even detainee ops. The defenders that we get out here are probably some of the most disciplined individuals that we see in the career field. And the reason I say that is because the threat is real. That really kind of focuses how they perceive their mission and their role in that mission, because here it is nothing but mission, it is nothing but defense. And I think they find a lot of value in that, and I think they're very appreciative of that opportunity.
Think about communications, it's really about connectivity. We live in an information age, and that connection matters more and more every single day. You could talk about the real sexy cyber stuff or just the real nitty-gritty down in the dirt. That connection could be fiber optics between buildings. That connection could be a dusty comm closet in some corner of Bagram, and that is really what it's all about, kind of the glue that binds the mission together, and it comes down to connectivity. We are the only Air Force communications unit in Afghanistan, which means we support Kabul, we support Kandahar, Jalalabad, Bagram. They're behind the scenes doing that, and in all sorts of conditions. Hot, dusty summertime, wintertime, just like this.
We literally reach out and touch everything on an installation. Just about every operation on this base relies on some sort of movement of data, right? And that is our job, that is what we do. And how efficiently and how well we do that job determines how efficiently and how well the wing can execute their mission. Being actually on the ground in Bagram, in Afghanistan, brings the reality home that this is no longer preparation, this is no longer training, but we're actually doing the job that we were trained to do. And to actually see the effect of what we're doing, we definitely see the impact of our job and all of our training. As far as maintaining switches, maintaining infrastructure, knowledge management, all of our planning capabilities, all of this stuff comes together and gels and provides a overarching communication support to a wing that's executing an actual mission.
In the Comm Squadron, we got a ton to be excited about right now. Just this last year, we were selected as the best small communications unit in the entire Air Force. And that's exciting, but what really gets me fired up is the airmen and the people that make that happen. The thing that I absolutely cherish the most is that this unit knows that we didn't get here by ourselves. We're standing on the shoulders of people that went before us here at Bagram. We're standing on folks that made even greater sacrifices, and we're standing up for people back home that really matter. Our families, our friends, our loved ones are dependent on us to protect them and to take care of them and to assure that mission so that we assure bombs drop. And that, quite honestly, is what I cherish the most.
I get to live my dream, and I have, and I feel very grateful for that. I've had the opportunity to fly the A-10, the F-16, and the F-35, and now back in the F-16 again. And at this level of my career, it's a blessing to be able to contribute tactically, directly to the mission. And so the mission is exciting, it's rewarding, it can be challenging and even scary at times. but the bottom line is it matters. You know, the fact that we have those airplanes in the skies overhead, providing the effects that they do, it provides a decisive and asymmetric advantage for the entire joint team here in Afghanistan. It can be challenging to balance all of the requirements of being a wing commander and still be tactically proficient and to continue flying, but it's worthwhile. One, on a personal level, it's certainly enjoyable, but more important than that, it's being professionally tied to the mission, being able to see the battle space, being able to understand the fight that we're in, being able to understand what our airmen, the challenges that they're facing, and the difficulties of the mission, and being personally exposed to that and understanding it on a more intimate level, I think is important. I just want our airmen to know that what they do is important. I want them to remember why they're here and who they're fighting for. It is to fight the away game. It is to ensure that this country is never used as a jumping off point for terrorism again. And every single job that they do here is critical. It's our combined efforts and the alignment of our skill sets that gives us the advantage here and that allows us to be so successful. And I just want to let all of our airmen know that I love them for what they do and for who they are.